One of the craziest things that happened with me this week was the fact that I'm coming back to the ministry. I got saved when I was at 14 years old, and God told me that I had to get my life together and pretty much follow Him and consecrate to the ministry. And for so long, I was like, "Oh God, how do I do that?" Right? So I did a few things that everybody does it when they are called to the ministry. I was like, serving Him at the church, and also like helping as many people as I could and stuff like that until I got married. And then once I got married, I was like, I had a bad experience with some parenting, like spiritual parenting, like mentorship and stuff like that. And I felt like I should give a break on God things because maybe I was gonna get hurt again and stuff like that. So I decided to just focus on my wife and focus on my kids, and on my businesses. But there was a time, and this time is this year, where God encouraged me to get back to it, like to get back to the call. So I went to a conference in January this year, 2021, in Vancouver, Washington, that really kind of led me back to Jesus in a way. I never did anything wrong, or I never got out of the way, but got me back to thinking of launching a ministry in USA. Well, I thought of doing something, or maybe kind of being a little bit more independent. I'm very well connected to other folks, like ministries and stuff like that. I have spiritual covering. But there is a time in the life of all believers that they need to take a decision to do what God has called them to do. There is a time that you believe, that you have hope for things, that God told you something and you just keep that inside of your heart. But there is a time of action. There is a time that you need to step out of the boat and walk on waters. So that's what I did. That was this year for me, So I remember that I went to this conference and I was there thinking of my purpose. Like, okay, I have my businesses. I'm taking care of my family, taking care of my wife and kids. But is that it? I mean, should I do something else? And God really told me, yes, I have called you to the ministry. You have to get back to it. And I remember 1 John chapter 3:8 that says, he that does sin is of the devil. For the devil's sins from the beginning. For this purpose, the Son of God was manifested. So Jesus himself has a purpose. I was like, well, Jesus has a purpose. Cool. What about my purpose? We tend to think that purpose has everything to do with career, or maybe like the way we go to school, our diplomas and certificates, but it's not that. It's actually a way above it. It's much more deeper than it, because the purpose of God in a true believer, it just burns like a blazing fire. Like, well, I have to do it. If I don't do that, I will never feel myself complete. I will feel empty for the rest of my days, So once the believer decides to go for it and decides to just activate the promises of God, things start manifesting. That's why I'm here actually in this YouTube channel, doing this video, because I have to manifest somehow. I don't know the outcome of it. I don't know how many people I'm going to help out, but I know for sure the people need it. And people are in search for it. So what is your purpose? What is your purpose? What have you been designed for? Instead of doing things that don't work, why don't you just decide to do what you have designed it for? So it's funny because I have another mentality about this, like about purpose now. I went to the conference and then God talked to me, and I decided to go all the way up there. I bowed my knees on the altar. No one was there. The conference gathered over 5,000 people, but I decided to step out of my place. I was all the way in the back. Then I went all the way up front. I bowed my knees. I prayed and I said, Jesus, I'm recommitting myself to you. I want to do whatever you tell me to. And here I am, Lord. I want to do the ministry. I want to do the call. So then it's funny because I went back to the back after like 15 or 20 minutes praying. Everybody was crying, shouting, and doing all this kind of Christian stuff. So when I went back, I sat down on the floor. I prayed that again. I said, Jesus, give me the next steps. And then when I got up, a friend of mine sent me a text message. And he was like, hey, dude, do you want to go to Guillermo Maldonado's conference next month with me? I will pay off your ticket if you decide to say yes. I was like, oh, sure. Yes, I'm coming, right? Free stuff. So I was like, oh, my gosh, I just made this prayer. And the Lord now is leading me to go for it, So it's pretty interesting that our purpose is connected to our God. You need to find out. You need to decide to do it, because once you decide to go for it, once you decide to do what God has called you to, He's gonna make a way. He's gonna provide. He's gonna open doors for you. Things will happen. And if you say, "Well, I have no money," hey, listen, your prosperity is in your purpose. So your prosperity is right there. Everything that you need to do, you need to walk on water. You need to step out of the boat so Jesus can provide things for you. Yeah, so let's see how this goes. Drop off your comments below. I want to read it. I want to see what you guys think about it. God speaks and He lives.